Richard Nixon was born on January 9, 1913, in Yorba Linda, California. He started to get involved in the United States government when he decided to join the United States Navy following the attack on Pearl Harbor. During World War II, he rose all the way up the ranks to become a lieutenant commander. He used his high rank in the Navy to his advantage in order to get him elected in 1946 as a Republican to the House of Representatives. 4 years later, in 1950, he was selected to the United States Senate. He started to gain popularity, and in the 1952 presidential election, Dwight D. Eisenhower selected him as his running mate, which in turn made Nixon one of the youngest vice presidents in history. He then ran for the presidency in 1960, but lost in a close battle to JFK. This devastating defeat really hurt Nixon to the point where he announced his withdrawal from political life. This quote-unquote withdrawal did not last long because he decided to run for the presidency again in 1968, and he won. President Nixon's first term was a great one, in which he accomplished many things and gained widespread popularity among the American people. The first thing he did was effectively end America's involvement in the Vietnam War. He was also very successful with his foreign policy by opening diplomatic relations with the People's Republic of China in 1972 and initiating the anti-ballistic missile treaty with the Soviet Union. Before the end of his first term, Nixon set up new economic policies that included wage and price control and the extermination of the gold standard in America. All these accomplishments made him even more popular among the people, that it led to him being re-elected by a huge margin in 1972. This huge victory was probably the only bright side in President Nixon's second presidential term, because the nation was heading into tough economic times. Nixon was also involved in a political scandal called Watergate, which didn't help the situation. The Watergate scandal began on June 17, 1972, when 5 men got arrested for breaking and entering into the Democratic National Committee headquarters. It was then revealed that these 5 men were on the 1972 committee to re-elect the president. As things started to get worse, it was revealed that Nixon had a tape recording system in his office and had recorded many conversations. Some of these recordings implied that the president tried to cover up the break-in. Nixon eventually had to hand over the tapes to the Supreme Court. While this was going on, Nixon consistently denied having any part in the Watergate scandal. He was later told by trustworthy Republican senators that there were enough votes to remove him from office. This caused Nixon to resign from office on August 8, 1974. Even though Nixon resigned from office, criminal prosecution was still a possibility. On September 8, 1974, Vice President Gerald Ford succeeded Nixon and issued him a full and unconditional pardon. On April 18, 1994, at the age of 81, Richard Nixon passed away due to a stroke. Even with his mistakes, people still loved him, and it was estimated that about 50,000 people attended his funeral to pay their respect to the 37th President of the United States.